Australia and Wales Rugby World Cup 2023, folks. Wales, big ol' win. Australia, is this the lowest point in their rugby history? I don't know. It's certainly one of the lowest points in my lifetime. We'll go through some key events and stats, and you guys can let us know your thoughts. There was a lot of negative vibes coming from this game because I had the Aussie commentary on for the vast majority of the game. Given this result, 40 points to 6, it's not surprising that the vibes coming from the Aussie commentators were pretty negative. I mean, we are talking barring a miracle with like Portugal and Georgia doing something insane, first ever pool stage exit for the Wallabies at a World Cup, biggest ever loss to Wales, biggest ever loss at a World Cup. Like, there's reasons for them to be negative. But I used the old VPN, switched on to ITV, thinking that's a UK service. They'll be loving the Welsh. Not really. It was still very, I don't know, but blasé, but apathetic at best. So yeah, you can kind of look at this game in two ways. It's either a devastating, dejected, awful one from an Aussie point of view, but a hell of a win for Wales, man. Quarterfinal, big old win, biggest win in your history. So lots to be positive about. But yeah, that's just the nature of sports sometimes, isn't it? In terms of key events and stats and whatnot, the Aussies didn't start the game well. They conceded a penalty and in their own half, and the Welsh set a bloody good line-out move. It's a set play. It's line-out move, inside ball, Jack Morgan through a gap, Gareth Davies support line, Boomfar over for a try, 7 points to 0 early. And remember, both these sides are kind of young because both had clear-outs, but the Wallabies clear-out under Eddie Jones has been more extreme. Like the Welsh had a few guys retire, but the Wallabies just dropped some of their veterans who were still available. So you went into this game with Dan Biggar against like Ben Donaldson, who's just like the difference in international experience is about as vast as it can get. But Biggar didn't last that long in this game anyway due to injury. But yeah, 7-0 early to Wales. George North gives away a high tackle, so the Aussies have got a chance to hit back. They go for touch. The line's a bit messy, but they go through like 15 phases. The Aussies get an advantage because the Welsh are offside. Bell goes close, can't get over the line. It's pretty much a knockout game for Australia, so take the 3. Smart play. The Welsh try is now reduced to a 4-point lead. Happy days for Australia. And Dan Biggar's taken a big old knock, and he doesn't last much longer. So is this going to be, after an early setback for the Wallabies, is this going to be a bit of a momentum swing? Well, it maybe looks like it because Dan Biggar does have to go off. And his rival, Ben Donaldson, has a good old line break early, but maybe decision-making not quite there. Goes left when he probably should have gone right. There were numbers seemingly to the right, but it's one of those ones. And then from the turnover ball, Wales hoof it long, and Josh Adams has got gas for days. He put a lot of pressure on Andrew Kellaway. So the Wallabies have gone from potential try-scoring opportunity to goal line dropout in the matter of moments. But yeah, Dan Biggar going off, you think maybe evens the playing field a bit, but you still got a veteran in Gareth Anscombe to come off the bench for Wales. But he misses his first penalty, hits the posts. So maybe a little bit rattled. To be fair to him, he had been, speaking of rattled, absolutely clobbered by an Aussie tackle right before he had to take that penalty. But yeah, Biggar going off, certainly not good news for Wales. But good news for Australia. They won a scrum penalty on 12 minutes. So the game gets within a point. This Aussie scrum, which has got James Slipper at tight head, not supposed to be getting any dominance, gets a couple of early penalties. So 7-6. 7-6. Then the Donaldson line break. It's looking like some positive momentum for the Australians. However, soft penalty at the breakdown leads to that Anscombe shot, which hits the post, which I mentioned. He doesn't get his first one, but that's maybe, as I said, related to that tackle that he suffered a few seconds earlier. He gets his next one a couple of minutes later. Big Welsh maul, gets advantage, take the shot. 10-6. 10-6 restores the lead a little bit. Another Aussie penalty at scrum time, though. Happy days, maybe getting some go forward. Rob Leota, big carry down the left wing. And then Wales concede a penalty at the breakdown. And big decision for the Wallabies, right out in front. Do you take the 3 like you have been, or do you go for the jugular? They go for the jugular, and sometimes it's hard to criticise teams for that because hindsight's obviously 2020. If they go over for a try here, it's genius. But the fact that they don't even win the line out, it looks like an awful decision. So I don't want to be too critical of teams who don't go for the 3, but given it was right in front, and it's kind of a knockout game, maybe you take the shot at poles there. But they don't. They lose the line out, and the Welsh kick a 50-22 for their trouble. So it goes from bad to worse for the Wallabies. And when Wales get a penalty not long later, they don't make the same mistake. They do take the poles. 13-6, leaders extended. Josh Adams is chasing high balls. I mean, so is Nawaqanitawase for the Aussies, but he wins one in the air. Does old Josh Adams. Valetini gets pinged for diving on a ball, which is close to the back of a ruck. He needs to stay on his feet. So it's another soft penalty. 13-6, leads getting extended. Oh no, so that's 16-6. And then the restart for the Aussies is out on the full. So the momentum from that line out that they went for, which they turned over, has just gone from kind of in Australia's favour to way back in the old Welsh direction. So restart out on the full, scrum advantage, and then Lewis Rees-Zammit went bloody close right before halftime. So the score at halftime is still 16-6, which is by no means dead and buried, but you felt the momentum shift towards the latter part of that first half. Run meters is 214 to 138 in Australia's favour. They've had 59% possession, they've had 57% territory. Clean breaks, though, is 3 apiece, but the Welsh have had to make 103 tackles to 41. So they've been doing some defending in that first half. Second half, though, man, the Wales take it up a gear in that second half. Or maybe just the Wallabies lose the plot. Like, whatever went on at halftime did not work for the Wallabies. Like, second half starts with Wales getting a maul turnover pretty much from the kickoff. Then they win a penalty at the resulting scrum. So it's 19-6. It's momentum immediately to Wales, which is not what Australia needed when they needed to chase the game. And then the Aussie errors, man. Like, throwing an intercept pass. I mean, Wales were a little bit guilty of it as well, when they went to contest the high ball and they clattered into, was it Nawaqanitawase? They clattered into him, gave away a soft penalty, but you feel like more of the errors were Australia's way. Their line out wasn't straight. Wales scrum starts to get dominance. Gareth Davies kicks a 50-22. They go through 9 phases and work what's probably the best try of the game. Maybe. The wee dink over the top when there's nobody home for Australia, and Nick Tompkins from Anscombe's kick able to just gather it, dot it down, 26-6. That point's game over. I know it's 20 points. It's been done before, but geez, it didn't look like it. Then Kerevi, high tackle on Tompkins. It's another easy 3, 29-6. That's when I switched over to the ITV commentary, expecting an excited UK-based commentary team to be bigging up the Welsh, but it wasn't much better. But yeah, the Aussies were very dejected. I don't blame them. It was awful. Another Anscombe penalty on 59 minutes makes it 32-6. Koroibete gets held up when he has a carry, so great Welsh defence turns them over. Aussie kick out on the full. Wales get another more penalty. The forwards are just dominant. Anscombe sees his guys aren't likely to score a try, so he does a George Ford from the other day. If the bloody other players on the team can't get any points, just do it yourself. He kicks a pretty sweet drop goal. So, yeah, the control was complete by that point. When the Aussies had a chance to get some consolation points, Carter Gordon comes on, kicks out an Aussie penalty dead, so it's another let-off. And then for the icing on the cake for Wales, it's not quite bonus point icing on the cake, but it's still a good way to finish the game if you're a Welsh fan. Jack Morgan, who continues to be incredible, scores a try at the back of a big Welsh maul. And the Welsh maul was really good today. Got them a lot of go forward, so 40 points to 6. Vunivalu gets held up at the death. But that's game over. So like I said, first pool exit, biggest loss to Wales, biggest Rugby World Cup loss, and just an awful second half from the Wallabies. I don't mean to take anything away from Wales, because boy, you guys were good. Shut them down. Dominated them in every key facet of the game. Maul was dominant. Scrum got dominance. Line out was more clinical. Aerial balls was maybe a bit of more of a hit and miss one, but won the ones you needed to. Anscombe ran the game well in the absence of Dan Biggar. Goodness me. It was, yeah. The Aussie commentators, which I switched back to the post-match show, said men against boys, and it felt like it in the second half. Run meters finished 239 to 302, so less kind of clocking up with those in the second half. Possession, though, 51-49 it finishes, in territory 54-46. So second half, Wales have got 65% possession, 60% territory. They were just dominant. Remember, the tackle count was kind of lopsided at halftime. It finishes 141 to 122, so the tackle count evens out quite a lot. Clean breaks finishes 3-3, though, so there's no additional ones in the second half. Defenders beaten 13-19, so the Aussies got a few more. They also conceded a few more penalties. 12 to Wales' 9. Wales mauled it successfully 7 out of 7 times. Australia none from 2. So poor. Wales' line out 17 from 18. Australia 7 from 9. So yeah, man, some of the big players for Wales just stood up. Jack Morgan was great. He scored a try, got an assist, had 16 from 16 tackles. Faletau had 36 metres and beat 3 defenders. George North had 45 metres and 3 defenders beaten. But it wasn't really a day for the running backs. It was more about the dominant forwards. Tom Hooper had 13 from 14 tackles. Nawaqanitawase was kind of kept quiet with 51 metres and 2 defenders beaten. But yeah, bad day for Aussie rugby. But how good for Wales. Like I said, I felt a little bit bad for Wales because after they beat Fiji, they were getting no love. Everyone was bagging them. Then they beat Portugal. Everyone's bagging them. And then there's this game, like at least the 2 commentaries I listened to, it was more about how bad the Wallabies were. But Wales needs a bit of love, man. They're going to top that pool. And their coaching change with Gatland coming in, it's looking pretty decent. It's an improvement from Pivac, whereas for the Wallabies, second Dave Rennie is looking like the worst decision you've ever made. But hindsight's obviously 2020. Australia have got Portugal next. Wales have got Georgia. We will see what happens in those 2 games. You guys let us know your thoughts on this one. Subscribe to the channel if you wouldn't mind. And I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.